Real respected financial advisors, just came out with a kind of a scary interview where he was talking about deleveraging, and he said this thing is starting to come apart, and you need to understand how this is coming apart. And when it becomes unstable, like it is, people can be pushed into different groups. Okay, we all know this. I don't think people understand how unstable the world is getting. But if you look at, did you see we meant to talk about it yesterday, the tweet that came from an Audi dealership in China, where they're all standing in front of this Audi dealership and they're all waving like, hey, hi, everybody. Come on in. There's great sales at this Audi dealership. And there's this banner out front that if you don't read Chinese, you're just assuming it says, hey, sale going on now. And it doesn't say that. What it says is, we will kill all of the Japanese even if we have to die ourselves.
And get 10% off your A6 right now.
With 2.5% APR financing. I mean, it's an amazing thing that Audi had to come out and say, hey, some of the views of the dealerships in China don't reflect ours. Really? That's how far you're going to go on let's kill all the Japanese? You're going to go all that way. It isn't necessarily the views of the Audi Corporation. Nobody's taken China on, and China is gearing up for war. Now, why would they do that? They're gearing up for war because they are so afraid of their economy is collapsing. They have to have 10% growth every year, double-digit growth, or it will fall into revolution, because they're in this weird place where the rich have really gotten rich and the poor are still working in the rice paddies. And so they come in to work in these rice paddies. That's why they're building these ghost cities, because they got to keep people employed. Well, they can't afford to do it anymore, and it's coming apart. And so they know, the Communist Party knows, if we don't direct our people, their hostility towards something else, they will come after us. It's exactly what everybody fears about the Tea Party and me. They said that I was going to be, Father Coughlin, and I was going to try to ramp up all this nationalism. That's what this means. You ramp up the nationalism because as things get bad, you can play on people and you can direct them towards war with other countries. China's doing it right now, and they're taking on Japan. And they are allowing these protests and whole dealerships of Japanese cars and everything else to burn to the ground. And they're ramping up war. Whether it actually goes to war or not remains to be seen. But this is a very disturbing trend that our president hasn't even addressed. He hasn't even talked about it. Most Americans don't even know about it. It's extraordinarily disturbing. One of the reasons why China is being allowed to get away with it is because they own our loans. They're not giving us any more, but they own them. And they can dump the dollar, and it will just torpedo the United States of America. So we can't say anything about it. And also, there is no American leadership in the world anymore, which is why the Middle East is on fire. You can't just do what Barack Obama did. You can't do it. It's been built for too long. You have to have a real strategy and a strategy of strength. And he has empowered all of the wrong people. Instead of empowering the people of the Green Revolution in Iran, he empowered the people of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. And he did the same thing in Libya and all throughout the Middle East. He made a hero out of the guy in Tunisia, instead of a hero out of the people who died for what they believed in Iran. You can't do it. We've sent the wrong message, and it's getting worse all around the world. Europe is still falling fast. Now, I was told to stop talking about the Nazis. I was told to stop talking about the growing popularity of extremism in Europe. Sorry, I'm never going to stop talking about it. I've taken a lot of heat on this. I was told you can't even use the word Nazi anymore. Too bad. I'm going to. That's why I own my own network. When I said these things 3 years ago, I was talking about the coming insurrection. And I said, look, it's going to get worse and worse, and you're going to see the hatreds of the past rise up. you will see the Nazi Party rise up. Well, when a year ago the Nazi Party won some offices in Greece, I use that as an example, saying they had 2.5% support. They now have 8% support. This is going in the wrong direction, warning the Nazis and the communists against the Muslim extremists are going to pull everything apart. And some places, the Muslims will play on both sides or one side or the other. Remember, the Muslim extremists and the Nazis were friends in World War II. They worked together. This is not some made-up thing. This is history. Last night, I saw the latest poll from Greece. They have gone in the last year, the Nazi Party. Remember, 1/3 of Greeks were killed by the Nazis. 1/3. 80 years later, it's gone from 2.5% to 8% support for the Nazi Party to now 22% support of the Nazi Party. Hitler came to power with 39%, 33%. Does anybody remember?
I want to say it was 39.
It doesn't take much because they walk in lockstep. Back to what this financial guru is now predicting. He's saying, look, we have to find a way back to our friends and our neighbors. It is why we did Restoring Love. We have to find a way back to common principles and hold tight together because this thing is going to come undone. And if we don't, we will split apart and tear each other apart. He specifically talks about you cannot pit the rich against the poor. We can't do that. Again, why we're doing our fundraisers, why we're doing the things with Mercury One, why we are sending food all over the country, why we have sent hurricane relief out, why I say it's important for you to be actively involved and seen helping the poor. They have to know because people are trying to pit us against each other. And if it doesn't stop, we end up like every other culture all over the world throughout history. And it's not just happening in one country. It is happening all over the world and happening here. We have to find a way to unite with each other. Have to. Or we don't survive. And I will tell you, it's hard in this political atmosphere because the choices are so stark, but they have to be about principles. And that's really hard, especially for doing what we do all the time. It's really hard to make it about principles and not about personalities because this guy has just lied over and over and over again. And it's so frustrating. But somehow or another, we have to. The press. We had to go to another country to be able to get some decent questions asked of this president. Yesterday, Univision did an interview, and it was surprisingly tough, where they asked the president, Mr. President, why don't you just fire Eric Holder? Listen.
There's a report that 14 agents were responsible for the operation, but shouldn't Attorney General Eric Holder, he should have known about that. And if he didn't, should you fire him?
Well, first of all, I think it's important for us to understand that the Fast and Furious program was a field-initiated program begun under the previous administration.
Liar.
No. That's absolutely untrue. Unequivocal lie.
Yeah.
Just a flat-out stinking lie.
Fast and Furious didn't start as a field operation by the Bush administration?
The Bush administration may have started field operations, but they didn't start Fast and Furious.
Yeah, they started another program that had some similarities, though, but they were working with the Mexican government. It was a completely different setup.
They did not start this.
And it was it was not Fast and Furious.
He's
it was
just
a
a
completely
liar.
different operation.
It's a lie.
Eric Holder found out about it. He discontinued it.
No.
We assigned a inspector general to do a thorough report that was just issued, confirming that, in fact, Eric Holder did not know about this, that he took prompt action.
Not sure.
And the people who did initiate this were held accountable.
Stop. Then why did you, why was there executive privilege, Mr. President, if he didn't know about it?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can extend executive privilege. if there was not a foreign journalist, but an American journalist that knew the damn thing about the Constitution, you cannot extend executive privilege unless the president or his closest advisors are working on it at a White House level. So if Eric Holder knew nothing about it, and neither did the White House, how can you possibly extend executive privilege? Answer, you can't. But no one will go on this. No one will move on this. Is there more of this, Nightmare?
No, I think we've had enough.
This is what makes it so hard. This is what makes it so hard when somebody can just lie to your face. But most people don't know the facts. So I said last night when we did the deal in the movie theaters, the biggest problem America has is willful ignorance of our civic duty and what's happening in our country. At this point, we get what we deserve because all of the information is there. People are choosing. Are you telling me? Really? In today's day and age, when you have the internet, when you have high-speed internet, when you have 400,000 channels to choose from, you have access to every library on your laptop. Are you kidding me? There is no excuse for us not to know this. None. We are choosing to bury our heads. And if we do so, we will get what we deserve. And I will tell you, we are in the last phase of something called the Project. The Project is a Muslim Brotherhood plan that we found out about, meaning the United States government, when we went in and we broke up a terror cell in Switzerland. And we found this document called the Project, approved by designed and approved by the Muslim Brotherhood as a plan to take over the West and destroy it and make it into a caliphate. There are 3 phases. We're in the last phase, and most Americans don't even know about it. Next week, I beg you, get together with your 9/12 Project. Get together with your Tea Party. Tell everybody you know. Watch Dish 212 at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, and then the second part on Thursday. Watch it. Share it with everyone you know. This is so far. What Bush knew about it as well, and infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood happened under Bush as well. You have to know the truth because you'll understand what's happening in the Middle East and exactly what not to do, which is exactly what Barack Obama is doing. This information is coming out from people who are afraid for their country and are risking their life and their job to be able to tell the story. Please tell everybody you know. Watch it for free on the Blaze. You could sign up for the free 2 weeks and then cancel it at theblaze.com/TV, or you can watch it on Dish, channel 212. It premieres Wednesday, and then the follow-up, the second hour, is on Thursday, 8 p.m. Tell everyone you know. It's vital.